Hey, oh, Jesus Christ, Chuck. Let's try that again. Hey, guys. Really, man? Hey, guys. Just chilling with Blitzy out in the garage on a beautiful day and thinking things over. And if I weren't doing that, I'd have to be working out in the heat. It's 90 degrees out, man. I thought of another lesson, another pertinent bit of useful information regarding that last two troubleshooting videos I did. Let me, I'm talking weird, man. I'm in an odd mood. Let me, I'll pause you. I pause you, and I'll bring you back. I gotta prop things up. Hang on. This engineering talk brought to you by Walmart's great value brand, Ultimate Fresh Dryer Sheets. Great scent, great static control. 160 sheets. Very nice. Let me turn it over and show you the reverse. One moment. Okay, boys. Blitzy permitting, I'm all ready to go. Let me sit you up. Hang on. Okay, guys. I've cleared my throat. I won't do that again to you. This pointing device brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone brake cleaner cleans and dries quickly. It does. Non-chlorinated. I wouldn't know. I don't drink it. One moment. Well, I won't pause you. I thought it important to talk about power generated in a voltage drop across the resistance like that when you've got significant current flowing. And it is significant, the heat generated. Look at these two little squares down here. That's probably the actual size of the contacts in that switch. How many watts? Think about it, guys. How many watts of heat do you think those contacts can dissipate without roasting? Remember, it's not like they're out in the open air. They're enclosed in that switch. Think about it. Take a 25-watt soldering pencil. It can obviously melt solder, right? Well, that tip has a fairly small surface area. It can't lose the heat being generated to convective airflow and infrared radiation and such. It's generating more heat than it can lose, so it gets hotter and hotter until it reaches an equilibrium, you know? Damn, Charlie, you sound like an idiot. Now that I've disparaged myself, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so that's how hot your soldering pencil gets. Here's Ohm's law again. Power equals current times voltage. If we substitute voltage, which is E equals IR, substitute the IR for that E, and what do you get? Power equals current times resistance. Power equals current squared times resistance. Blowzo's algebra lesson. So here you go. Power equals current squared resistance. What if 1 amp is flowing through that switch? 1 squared is 1 times a half equals a half a watt. Will those get hot at dissipating a half a watt of heat? They'll get warm. They might get real warm. I'll tell you a story, a scary story in a minute, about this topic. What if 4 amps flows through that switch? These little contacts are going to have to dissipate 8 watts. Now they're going to get hot. What if 8 amps? They might even roast. What if 8 amps flows? They'll dissipate 32 watts. And remember, the one fuse is rated at 20 amps. The other is rated at 3 amps. So the rated current capacity of those fuses is 23 amps. And it doesn't run at capacity, but 23 amps max on those fuses. What if 14 amps flows through that switch? Now those little squares are going to have to dissipate 98 watts of heat. You know, not only will they melt solder, they'll melt themselves to molten blobs in there, man. And so I noticed that switch failing when I put that voltmeter on, and the key switch completely failed within 2 days of that. And this is why. This is why. Okay? I just wanted to talk about power generation in a poor connection. When you've got a fair amount of current flow, and in this case, fair amount of current flow might be only 5 or 6 amps is all it takes to roast that switch to failure. Okay? I'm going to pause you, take you off the tripod, let you look at something else while I tell you a real quick story about this very thing. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to be making another John Deere video. I've got some questions, man, about what I should do. I'm kind of at a loss regarding paint on this machine. So, when I was a teenager, my mom and dad, they lived in a house. I grew up in a house in Flint that was built in 1917, I think. And it originally had knob and whatever you call it wiring, but it had been updated, obviously. And had a basement. And I was going to go down in the basement one day. And I opened the door. And I noticed that I opened the door and put my hand on the light switch at the same time. And I couldn't believe it. I kind of freaked because it had a metal switch plate. And I put my hand on it and it was hot. Ooh. Now, I knew quite a bit about electricity and electronics when I was 15, 16. And the light was on, so I immediately turned the switch off, shut the breaker off, took the switch apart, and it was a loose screw on one of the wires. They were both loose. And there was probably only who knows how many ohms of contact resistance, enough to make the switch cook and cook the wire on into the wall a few inches. And that's how fires burn down houses, because your breaker won't trip. It's not a case of excessive current. It's a case of excessive resistance, which generates heat. So, I hope that was useful to somebody. Jesus, I wish I was young again. Oh my God. I can't even sit on that and get my feet on the foot pegs. My legs aren't limber enough. Isn't that fucked up? Welcome to retirement, boys. Oops, I gave you the finger there. Sorry. Anyway, I hope that was useful to somebody. I've got an outro that's being edited right now. And, yeah, sitting here in the garage, chilling, waking up with my stuff, thinking about life, thinking about the world, thinking about mowing the grass today, thinking about my beautiful, beautiful best friend. You know what he'll do if I lay on the floor? He'll lay down right in front of me, on his side, spooning with me, pressed firmly against my body, and he'll lay his head on my outstretched arm. Damn. Exactly like my wife used to do, right? A best friend to the very end of one of us. Take care. Enjoy the weather. It finally came. Bye now.